Everybody is talking about Sean Levy's Starfighter. Rey's new Jedi Order movie continues to dominate headlines every few months, but I honestly think the most important Star Wars movie Lucasfilm has in development is not any of those. Welcome to the channel, everybody. Jimmy or Chaos. I think it's a movie that most casual fans have almost forgotten exists. I'm talking about James Mangold's Dawn of the Jedi, or as a lot of people inside Lucasfilm have dubbed it over the years, Jedi Prime. And this project, to me, this is it. Unlike almost every Star Wars movie we've gotten over the last decade, this one isn't trying to fill in another gap between existing stories in the Skywalker era, right? It's not trying to bring back legacy characters, rely on nostalgia. It isn't even connected to the Skywalker saga in the traditional sense. This movie is set roughly 25,000 years before the Phantom Menace. Let that sink in for a second. 25,000 years before Anakin Skywalker. 25,000 years before Darth, anybody, before the Clone Wars, before the Republic as we know it, before the Sith, before Yoda, before lightsabers, before almost everything that defines Star Wars. If Lucasfilm actually makes this film the way that James Mangold has described it, it won't just expand Star Wars lore. It will completely redefine what the Force actually is. And today we're going to cover everything about whether you want to call it Jedi Prime or Dawn of the Jedi. They're both actually awesome titles. We're going to cover everything, and we're going to speculate toward the end what this could actually look like. Now, when Lucasfilm officially announced the project during Star Wars Celebration back in 2023, James described it in a way that immediately caught everybody's attention. He didn't compare it to A New Hope or Empire Strikes Back. He called it a biblical epic and specifically mentioned films like Ten Commandments, as inspiration. That should tell you exactly what kind of movie that he wanted to make. It's not supposed to be another action-heavy Star Wars adventure where Jedi flip around, lightsabers, battles, all that. He wants to tell the story of discovery, not the discovery of any planets or Sith, but the discovery of the Force itself. It's a crazy concept. Every Star Wars movie you've ever watched starts in a galaxy where everyone already knows what the Force is. Some people believe it, others don't believe it, others dismiss it as myth, but it's already there, it's established. Mangold wants to go back to a time before they discovered it, a time when someone may have been the first living being to realize that there was an invisible energy connecting every living thing in existence. I think the idea alone opens up so many doors. It does. I mean, they're not going to be called Force sensitive, right? Probably gods, prophets, which, who knows? Who knows? I mean, that's the cool part. But there is a ton of confusion around this movie over the last year. The biggest news came from Kathleen Kennedy herself. She confirmed that James and Beau, who many of you know from writing some of the best episodes of Andor, have a completed screenplay of Dawn of the Jedi. According to Kennedy, the script is in great shape. So the problem isn't the screenplay, the problem is Lucasfilm's schedule. Right now, the studio has shifted its priorities toward projects that are closer to production. I mean, we just got the Mandalorian and Grogu. We're going to get Starfighter soon, so that means Dawn of the Jedi has been on the back burner, which I think is a massive mistake. If I were Lucasfilm, this would be one of the projects that I would protect the most, because unlike every other announced Star Wars movie or TV show, this one has unlimited creative freedom, and it breaks the ties of the Skywalker saga, which they have proved is basically impossible to do. There's no expectations about legacy characters here. I mean, nothing about Luke. Nobody knows who Luke is or Vader is. There's no pressure to explain Snoke or Palpatine or add stuff to it. We don't have to do any of that. I mean, the timeline itself is almost impossible to comprehend to me. 25,000 years before the Phantom Menace? I mean, that's not ancient history. It's kind of the birth of recorded galactic civilization. So according to Star Wars lore, the Galactic Republic itself traces its origins back roughly 25,000 years. So that means there is a very real possibility that this movie takes place during the formation of the Republic, or perhaps even before it existed. I mean, think about things like Coruscant. It's not going to be the city planet that we know. I mean, hyperspace routes, they probably don't even exist yet. The more I think about it, the more it actually gets really exciting. Now, one of the biggest mysteries in all of Star Wars is something we've actually seen before. People don't really realize how important it is. If you remember The Last Jedi, when Rey first arrived on Octo, there was a massive mosaic built into the stone floor of the ancient Jedi temple, and it showed a single figure sitting in perfect balance between the light and dark sides of the Force. Lucasfilm confirmed the figure was the Prime Jedi. I mean, that's all we know. No name, no origin, no species, no story, nothing. Just a symbol. But if you think about it, you're making a movie called Dawn of the Jedi set 25,000 years before the Skywalker saga. Who better to center the story around than the Prime Jedi? That could answer one of the oldest unanswered questions in Star Wars history. Who was the first Jedi? Was he even called a Jedi? I mean, I think that's one of the biggest twists this movie could pull off. What if the title Dawn of the Jedi is actually misleading? What if the main character spends the entire movie discovering the Force but never once calls himself a Jedi? I mean, we get ideas, philosophies, teachings. They inspire generations of Force users, thousands of years, but it's not actually the Jedi Order. Another thing, what about the technology? I mean, we automatically think X-Wing, Star Destroyers, lightsabers. This movie would look different. 25,000 years? I mean, what's human civilization going to look like? Who's in the galaxy? I mean, what technology would we have there? And then everybody always wants to talk about the lightsabers or the lack of lightsabers. One of the coolest possibilities is that the movie doesn't feature the iconic weapon at all. I mean, in Legends, the earliest Force users did not carry lightsabers like Obi-Wan and Luke. Some used metal swords enhanced through the Force. Others wielded proto-sabers, which was primitive energy weapons that powered, I think they were powered by like external battery packs, because true lightsaber technology hadn't happened. So how would combat look? How would it feel with the characters using ancient blades infused with the Force rather than elegant weapons that have kyber crystals? I think every fight would feel instantly more raw and brutal. And speaking of the crystals, this movie has the opportunity to answer another question we've debated for decades. Why are kyber crystals alive? We know they resonate with Force users, but they seem to choose their owners rather than the other way around. We've seen crystals bleed red. We've seen them purified back to white. We've even seen giant kyber crystals power super weapons like the Death Star. We don't know why. So maybe in Dawn of the Jedi, they reveal that kyber crystals were among the very first clues that led people to discover the Force. Once again, there's so many opportunities here. There really, really is. Who would the villain be? If there's no Sith yet, who opposes heroes? I mean, I don't think the movie really needs a Darth Vader type character. I hope it doesn't have one. I think James has always been at his best when his stories revolve around human conflict instead of simple good versus evil battles. Look at Logan. The emotional struggle mattered just as much as the action. So I can see Dawn of the Jedi taking an approach like that. The real enemy might be fear, greed, pride, temptation, anything like that. I mean, surely, I don't know if we get it in the first movie, but we would also get the birth and the origin of the Sith and the dark side. We would get to see all of that at the forefront. I mean, it really is something that truly, truly could be exciting. Now, let's speculate, okay? You have to be careful with this film. If they over-explain the Force, I think they would risk taking away part of what makes Star Wars magical. But if they approach it like ancient civilizations trying to understand lightning before science existed, you might have something special here. I mean, what if the Force begins exactly the same way? Imagine a child reaching out to a dying tree and somehow it blooms. Or somebody senses another person's pain. Or entire villages believing certain people have been chosen by gods. It could start out that way. I mean, the Mandalorians. I mean, actually, you know what? I hope they stay away from it. I'm not saying they shouldn't exist. I mean, George Lucas made them canon. They're part of the Star Wars deal, whether you like them or not. But Dawn of the Jedi doesn't have to be about biology. I mean, I think it's better if it's about belief, wonder, discovery, all that. I don't think we need midichlorians. And then there's another piece of Star Wars mythology. It keeps coming back into my head, right? If you've watched the Clone Wars, you know where I'm going. The father, the son, the daughter. Three beings who seem to exist outside normal reality and represent balance, light, darkness, all of it. Dave Filoni has continued bringing those symbols back over and over again. We saw references in Rebels. We saw the Mortis gods carved into the mountains in Ahsoka. We know Lucasfilm has not forgotten about them. The question is whether James wants to touch on that mythology at all. So many questions, so many things that we need answered. But what we need to know is that this is actually happening and they're moving full forward, because this is Star Wars' best hope. I truly feel that way. Let me know what you think. I'll see you soon.